always puts 100% into characters.
How many times have you watched a Johnny Depp film and not recognized the actor at all? Depp is famous for his character and physical transformations, and we're taking a look at just how intense and painful they could be.
I didn't care if I knew if I was capable or not, you know. I wanted to try.
Number 1. Let's jump down the rabbit hole.
In my mind, he's mad.
And thanks to the extensive makeup, prosthetics, and a bit of CG, he looked it too. When Johnny Depp was prepping for production, he and Tim Burton both made sketches of what they felt the character should look like. And then, makeup artist Joel Harlow took the images and created them using Johnny's face as a canvas, emphasizing his natural features, both with makeup and with CGI in post-production to enlarge in those eyes. Then there was the hot, thick, electric orange yak hair wig.
Just kind of, had its own personality.
And the brightly painted contact lenses that brought those haunting eyes to the screen.
And had one of them painted just ever so slightly off.
And we can't talk about this transformation without mentioning the incredibly decorated costume featuring all the tools he'd need as a hatter on a regular basis.
He was so unrecognizable.
Number 2. Then he sailed on the high seas. Before Depp went to the ocean, he went a bit method and read his lines in the sweltering heat of a sauna so he could tap into that overheated, intense feeling mindset.
The heat was very important for me, the idea of, sweltering heat.
And once he got to set and in makeup, it was obvious this role was made for him.
And he said, "That's it, yeah." He got it. Immediately.
On top of all the hours of makeup, dirtifying him, and adding a red sore that would actually grow in size over the course of the films, the actor had to sit through the beard braiding and having his heavy, sweat-inducing wig applied.
It was trying at times, but we got through it, as gracefully as possible and as dignified as possible.
Number 3. We've got to talk about those teeth. Diving into production for Dead Man's Chest meant there was a whole lot of makeup once more, with a special emphasis on the darkness around his eyes, which was inspired by the fact that it's a method used by people trying to protect their eyes from harsh light. As for those teeth, well, Johnny really committed to this one.
Just sort of went to the dentist and he bonded them.
Would these be permanent? Nope. All it would take was a trip to the dentist. And speaking of permanent changes, the second Pirates movie saw the makeup team using a kind of semi-permanent glue to help keep the braids intact, rather than the wires and paper clips they used in the first film to keep those braids stiff. Number 4. A chocolate river. Count us in. For someone surrounded by so much candy, Johnny Depp has shockingly pristine pearly whites, says Willy Wonka. Thank you, movie magic. The real struggle for Depp was the fact that he had to keep his face in unusual positions to keep those teeth in sight at all times.
Okay then, let's move along.
The sad story behind this is the fact that it represents the trauma that his character dealt with from his father in the film, a dentist who was also abusive. To make it all just a bit tougher, Depp wore deeply colored purple contact lenses, which are never a fun time. Number 5. In the wizarding world, you can be anything you imagine. And Depp did a lot of imagining before he even stepped foot on set to play Gellert Grindelwald. Then he spent hours collaborating with the whole team and then dove right into the transformation, going so far as to actually cut and dye his hair.
Do you think you can hold me?
Immediately after filming, while he was still on set, Depp had his hair dyed back again. The buzz cut he wasn't able to hide so easily, though. And would it really be a Johnny Depp character if there weren't painful, creepy as heck contact lenses involved? Oh, and how many hours are we guessing he spent sitting in the makeup chair to have his hair perfectly coiffed? Number 6. If you're gonna be a demon barber of Fleet Street, you've gotta commit. And we aren't surprised that Johnny did. Both he and Helena Bonham Carter went through major makeup treatments. Heavy white makeup to make them pale, and dark makeup to make them look under-rested and overworked. His sinister style came across and supported just how tragic his character's past was. Number 7. Looks are one thing. Singing? That's a whole other can of worms.
That's pretty weird.
A major part of playing this role was being able to sing. Sorry, we should say, being able to sing this particularly tricky score. When asked about how he felt about the singing aspect, Depp was pretty upfront.
I wasn't sure if I'd be able to sing, any of it.
It was a trying experience, causing the actor some real anguish in an attempt to transform into this musical barber.
I ran out of air about 5 minutes ago. Just pass out.
bam.
Thankfully, lessons helped him prepare to embody the role, and anyone who's seen the performance knows he absolutely succeeded. Number 8. This isn't the fairy tale you think it is, and neither was Depp's costume as the wolf in the live-action Into the Woods.
It's kind of a joy to approach, even though it's incredibly daunting.
When he first imagined the character, it looked pretty much like what we see on screen. A wild zoot suit featuring fedora and cat chain. However, the costume could be pretty annoying when it came to the very long nails that made it difficult to simply exist, and terrifyingly long, sharp teeth. Number 9. Scissor hands really aren't so practical to have at the end of the day. Depp learned that the hard way. But these epic costumes and prosthetics and makeup didn't go unnoticed since the film was nominated for and won multiple design awards. To prepare for the part, Depp had a very clear vision.
I watched a lot of Charlie Chaplin movies.
Then when it came time to film, he spent a whopping 2 hours prepping beforehand because of the extensive makeup and prosthetics application. Then there was the issue of the skin-tight suit that was hot to begin with. Filming under the harsh Florida sun? It was a recipe for disaster. Depp was kitted out with a cooling element inside the costume, but it didn't actually work out in the end. Oh, and the scissor hands? Well, Johnny had a practice pair to use at home early on.
The blades on the glove hands were plastic.
The actor learned very quickly just how frustrating they could be to work with.
It was like being, I guess, how it must feel to be sort of handicapped.
The real blades came out when the camera started rolling, though, and those blades could seriously cut. Number 10. It's vampire time. Depp approached his old pal Tim Burton, eager to make some movie magic.
We should do a vampire movie together. Like a real vampire movie, where the vampire looks like a vampire.
Looking like a vampire isn't always the most comfortable process, though. But the makeup was essential.
Nothing really happens until the makeup goes on.
Depp was just as collaborative on this one as he'd been on other projects.
When I'm doing a makeup with Johnny, I'm doing a makeup with Johnny.
The actor's creepy-looking vampire style was all thanks to a prosthetic nose bridge, pointy ear prosthetics, and a face covered in pale and dramatic makeup. Embodying Barnabas Collins also involved elongated finger prosthetics.
When the fingers are on him, they're him.
And insanely fierce-looking vampire fangs. And of course, an epic outfit.
I found the character on a whole other level once the wardrobe came into play.
Johnny Depp started out each day with a clean canvas. A fresh shave was followed by hours of hiding all his own hair, painting a skull cap, and then the application of his character's hair. After all those hours, the fun continued as Depp endured a whole lot of heavy makeup being applied all over his head and face. That airbrush is no joke. Oh, and just to add a bit more torture, there were more painful contact lenses. Number 12. The movie might not have gotten the best of reviews, but this transformation is remarkable. Depp felt the need to go absolutely extreme with this part, so he underwent the hair treatment and the makeup detailing, all for the sake of embodying this shady con man.
For me, as an actor, it was challenging in terms of playing a character who could be, like somewhat dubious.
But Depp has never been one to walk away from a challenge. Number 13. This was a serious look. Johnny Depp's longtime makeup artist, Joel Harlow, said, "Out of every movie I've ever done, this movie has more makeup in it and more different types of makeup in it than anything else. And a whole lot of it was just for Depp."
I said, it's me, man. It's me.
The full face of heavy, cake, mud-like black and white makeup was far from enjoyable. And to make it all worse, he spent a whopping 2 hours having it applied each day. However, the actor tried to make the situation a bit easier for himself, saying, "Sometimes I decided to wear it home to save time in the morning. It wasn't comfortable and it looked funny, but it was worth it, I think." Oh, and we haven't even gotten into the 7 prosthetics that were applied to his face and 4 applied to his body. Then perhaps the most difficult and frankly creepy aspect of all. The crow affixed to his head. To keep the bird in place, a painful vacuum-formed skull cap leveled up with some nylon thread bolts was made for Depp to wear under the real wig, so that way the bird could be attached securely through the bolts. All we can think is, ow. Number 14. The pain didn't stop there, though. The Lone Ranger also saw Depp playing a more aged version of his character, which was made possible by what's called full upper body aging. A technique that's usually avoided because of how complex, time-consuming, and uncomfortable it is. The actor endured a full arm and torso aging treatment that included 17 overlapping prosthetics. some of which even had hair pre-punched in them. Not only did Depp wear one uncomfortable pair of contact lenses for this one, he went in for double the trouble. This really did help the aging, leaving him with droopy and watery eyes on set. Number 15. We're throwing way back to the 90s with this one. Even in the early days, before Depp grew to be one of the most famous actors in the world, he committed to total transformations.
How long have you been doing this?
Since I was a kid.
But in this particular film, it was a bit odd that his face was completely slathered in white makeup since the movie was done in black and white anyway. Beyond that, Depp was also getting used to restrictive dresses and wearing heels like a champ. Johnny Depp is wickedly talented when it comes to embodying all these fantastical characters. But it does come at a cost, and Depp has proved time and time again he is willing to pay for it.